Okay, today we are playing a game on Dorado. We are in the Diamond SR range, and we will be playing Reinhardt the entire way through. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, D.Va, Pharah, Reaper, Ana, and Zenyatta. So, I'm not a huge fan of Reaper on this map, because I find it is very difficult to get much of anything done, really. You can do some cool flanking on this map. There's a few places you can shadow step to that the enemy team will maybe not be ready for, but this is the thing with Reaper, is it's like, why are we picking him over anybody else, right? Like, especially if we're talking about flankers, right? Like, kind of everybody else is better than Reaper. Which, this is an issue Reaper's struggled with since launch, basically. Like, even at launch, it was like, McCree is objectively better at killing tanks than Reaper is, because Fan the Hammer does 420 damage, which, I mean, it recently got rebuffed, so it doesn't do that much damage again, because that's stupid, but it does a lot more damage now. So, Reaper's always struggled with this, hasn't he? Where he's had issues being, like, justified to get picked. I love Reaper, don't get me wrong. I like Reaper a lot as a hero. He was actually the first hero I ever played in the game. But he's always struggled with this issue. One day we'll figure it out. One day we'll figure it out. Remember when Reaper had the soul globes to heal rather than lifesteal? Weren't those strange times? I do wonder how many people get this game, and then they look at Reaper's sprays, and they go, why does Reaper have this soul globe thing? What's that all about? Anyway, so, let's start the game. So, we're a little bit late to the party, but not overly so, and we got time, because they gotta get around the corner anyway. So our team doesn't benefit a lot from being up here, so we're pretty much just looking to, like, fire strike once or twice, and then, you know, get what we can and then go down. First fire strike went straight into a wall, which is, you know, suboptimal. Happens. Such is life sometimes. The first two fire strikes managed to get us nothing, which is unfortunate, because, you know, Reinhardt can build up Earth Shatter pretty quickly. So we've got Discord Orb on us right now, so we really want to wait until that's off before we do anything. We've come around here to break it off. Here, we can see Reaper is almost dead, so he's Wraith forming back right now, but we should put our shield up anyway, just because, like, any damage hits Reaper right now, he's gonna die. And we really don't want that to happen. And, like, fairly low percentage chance of him actually dying anyway, like, even though it looks scary to him. Like, he's actually not that likely to die, but we're in Diamond. This kind of thing matters more now. We should put our shield up just to try and make sure he definitely doesn't die from that situation. He didn't die, so all works out, but still. Why am I up here? I've just realized. Why am I all the fuck way up here? I'm going to be covering the kill cam. The actual answer is because I was recording something else and had my camera up there and never thought to change it. And then I just looked over at the window and went, why am I all the fuck way up there? That's where the kill feed is, the kill cam. Well, I'm not wrong, technically, but anyway, alright, now that everything's back in order, hold on, back. I gotta reacclimate myself to what's going on. Alright, so we could have gone forward a little bit sooner than this to start trying to contest the payload. We were a little bit hesitant to walk forward at first, but we did, you know, we got there. We got there and we pushed them back, so that's all fine. We got there in the end. Reaper, don't do that. That was scary. Holy shit, he just came out of Wraith form right in front of them at half health. Don't like that. So here, another thing, Zenyatta just died to Hanzo up there, and, like, realistically we don't save him, because he just died off the first shot from this Hanzo. But Hanzo was up in the window up there, and you know how Hanzo players are. They love to peek the corner multiple times, firing out a tree and just seeing if it kills somebody, right? So we've seen him fire one arrow. We should assume he's going to do that again, because he probably will, because he's playing Hanzo. So, I mean, you know, most DPS would, to be fair, but either way. So we've seen him up there, we should assume he's going to shoot again, so we should come over here and start blocking for our team, which are presumably mostly over there, because that's where he was shooting. We don't realistically save Zenyatta's life, but we should assume he's going to shoot again, so we should come over here and start blocking to make sure nobody else dies to Hanzo also. The boiler just kicked into turbo, so I'm sorry for the sudden background noise. I'll try and cut as much of it out in post, but, you know. Yeah, so we should have moved over to start blocking sooner for that, after we saw Hanzo, basically. So we just got nano boosted, and the position we're in, Everybody's 1,000 miles away from us right now. We ain't gonna get much done with this nano boost right here. If you're playing Ana, and you're gonna nano boost Reinhardt, wait until Reinhardt has engaged a fight and then nano boost him. Because if you just nano boost him randomly when he's holding his shield up, one of two things usually happens, right? Well, three things can happen. The first thing is you force Reinhardt to do something and it all works out perfectly. But this is the least likely thing to happen. So, the two most likely things that will happen is A, Reinhardt is in a position to do nothing of consequence, and as a result he doesn't do anything, and he just keeps doing what he was doing anyway, so Nano Boost ends up getting wasted. Or, and this is the most likely thing that will happen by far, Reinhardt goes, well, she just ulted me, so now I have to do something. And then he just picks whatever fight he can get, which usually means charging straight into the enemy team, heedless of all threats. And that often results in Reinhardt dying. So, wait until Reinhardt's started a fight, or engaged a fight, then nano boost him, if you're going to nano boost him, because that's going to have stuff happen with your ultimate more often. So, we didn't get to do anything with that ultimate. Yeah, life is difficult like that. So, it's taken us a really long time to build up Earthshatter. We're a minute and a half into the game. Almost 2 minutes, getting close. And we still don't have Earthshatter built up. We're only slightly over halfway. That's really bad. We clearly haven't been super efficient with our fire strikes this game, because realistically, like, you should be able to build up Earthshatter in a minute consistently. Sometimes it'll take like a minute and a half. If the enemy team is, like, basically never near you and you don't see them that often, so you can't fire strike them. But, like, a minute and a half is, like, kind of a long time to build up a fire strike. So we've not been very efficient with our, to build up Earthshatter, not build up fire strike, which I think is what I said. But it's taken us a while, so we clearly haven't been very efficient with our fire strikes this game. So, Genji used Nano Blade, but we had Transcendence. You can actually kill people through Transcendence with Nano Blade, but you need the dash, and he dashed in. Didn't get the reset from drawing the sword after he dashed in, so he couldn't kill anybody with it. And now we're just being greedy. Like, now we're just like, I'm gonna hit this Genji. And we're in full view of the enemy team with Discord Orb on us. Even if we didn't have Discord Orb on us, that would have still been a greedy maneuver. But because we had Discord Orb on us, it was even worse. So we got a, it's not a Boostio, because it's Zenyatta, so it's a Booyada. We got a Booyada over there. Presumably she was trying to nano boost somebody else and missed. Such is life. At least he wasn't in Transcendence, because I've seen that one happen a depressing amount of times. Anna's like, I'm gonna nano boost, and then Zenyatta just swoops by in Transcendence, and literally the worst possible nano boost happens. So we could have gone, Anna, you need to work on your nanos in the team chat rather than the all chat, but we'll assume that was by accident, right? Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to ignorance. So we probably just thought we were on team chat. That's what we'll assume. So, we've got Earthshatter built up now, which is good. This is a good ultimate. We do have to wait for, like, our team to be here still. Our shield's also really low, so we're going to let that one regenerate a little bit before we try and get anything done as well. And most of our team's here at this point. So we can start trying to look for somebody to use this ultimate on. Everybody's basically here. We're really hesitant to really go forward and do much, but I guess we're waiting for them to reach the corner first, which is also fine. So we're waiting for the shield to break, and then, oh no. And I mean, even if this landed, we die, because they're about to throw like 5 ultimates on our faces, but even so, when you're trying to Earthshatter past an Orisa, you have to account for how long it's been since Orisa put her last shield down. Because we've clearly been waiting for her to do this, but the shield's been down a while, so she just immediately replaces it. And, like, if you're really ready for it to break, you can get it past the Orisa as long as she, like, waits for it to break, then replaces the shield. But that is an extremely small window to do. Like, that's harder than getting it past an enemy Reinhardt's Fire Strike, right? Like, I don't recommend doing that. So, when you're trying to Earthshatter past an Orisa's shield, the two best things you can do, the most consistent thing you can do, is wait for her to put it down, and then, provided you're in a position to do this safely, just walk through the shield and Earthshatter them. Because she can't move it freely. So, if you're in a position where you can just walk through the shield and Earthshatter, that's the most consistent thing to do versus an Orisa. But, if you're not in a position where you can do that, you have to, like, wait, and you have to make sure that you know how long it's been since Orisa put her shield down. Because if it's been a while, then she can immediately replace it, and that's going to be really hard to actually get the Earth Shatter past. So, there you go. So we tried to Earth Shatter as soon as we saw it break, but she had it ready, replaces it, our Earth Shatter does nothing. Even if that Earth Shatter landed, we died regardless. Like, they used a lot of ultimates right there, so didn't matter, but just, you know, Orisa in general. She's easier to get Earth Shatter past than a Reinhardt is, because there's, like, there's no risk of really getting outplayed by the Orisa. It's just, like, a matter of positioning more than anything else, usually. So, we're pretty far up right now. Like, we don't really want to be this far up right now. Like, it's not that bad to defend this far up, but really, we want to wait for the door to close first. This is a bad color to use on this section of the map. What this looks like it will do. Yeah, there we go. We want to wait for this door to close first, because there's a few maps that are like this, right? Like Gibraltar's hangar. You don't want to start attacking the enemy team until the hangar door has closed, because the enemy team has more options before that point, right? So, like, it's not that bad to defend up here, but, like, we kind of want to wait for the door to close before we try. Just so the enemy team have less ways to shoot at us, less ways to maneuver, you know? But, hey, it went fine. So, it's all good. Defending under the bridge behind us is pretty much the best place, but it's not... Yeah, you can fight up here as well. That's fine. It's not as good as the bridge, but this is also fine. The thing with fighting this far up is if you get wiped, they might be able to push back past the bridge before your team can actually regroup again. Which would be unfortunate, because the bridge is the best spot to defend. Ooh, did you see that? Did you see that ult meter fill up right there? Because that nano boost hit just before the fire strike went through. Watch this. Oh, feels so good. So we want to Earth Shatter these boys right now, but Zenyatta starts using Transcendence, so we go, hey, alright, I'll wait for that to be done first. And then Zenyatta has, like, come out of Transcendence all the way over here, so he's just gonna get clapped to death. And now it's like, well, now I don't even need to use Earth Shatter anymore, do I? I think we forgot Zarya was below us, but, like, we saw her as well when we saw Zenyatta. So here's what you do when you're playing Zenyatta, right? When you use Transcendence, as Transcendence is ending, you want to be repositioning so that you're further away from the enemy team. Because when you're the giant glowing sun, right, you draw a lot of attention from the enemy team. So you really don't want to come out of that right next to them. Once you got like a second-ish left on Transcendence, you want to be backing up to get into a more Zenyatta-safe location. Not always possible, but depending on the map and the way the fight was going. But, like, you still want to be, like, getting out of the immediate danger zone as soon as Transcendence is ending. So, 3 people just got picked off, so we don't want to use Earth Shatter again because half our team's dead. So we want to wait for our team to regroup first, and Earth Shatter. We shouldn't be this far up right now, realistically, either, because we're just going to take more damage, you know, risk getting picked off. Take shield down, because we just got bubbled by Zarya, so we want to just, like, try and take as much damage on the bubble as possible, and save damage on our shield. So, Nano Boosted Barrage just came over the wall, and now it looks like, hey, now I guess we don't need to use I'm about to say, like, 9 different wrong things. Looks like we don't need to use Earth Shatter again now, because that solved the problem for us, so... We've kind of been sitting on this Earth Shatter for a while now, but sometimes this happens on Reinhardt, where, like, you know, Earth Shatter is a really fast-charging ultimate, so you really do want to get it out there as soon as possible, but sometimes things keep happening, and you don't need to do that, so you're just like, well, I guess we're just going to sit on this Earth Shatter for a while now, and it doesn't really feel good, but sometimes that's just how it is, because any fast-charging ultimate's that way, where you, like, want to get it out as soon as possible so you can start working on the next one, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So, don't use Fire Strike when you have Earth Shatter built up, because that's the whole point of Fire Strike when no fight's happening, is you use it to build up Earth Shatter. So, if you use it, like, if you have Earth Shatter built up, if you're going to use Fire Strike, you basically want to make sure it kills somebody. That's the point of using it then. Because if you Fire Strike somebody just randomly, like, you do some damage to them, sure, and, like, that does technically make them more likely to get picked off, but if things are just neutral, then very unlikely they get killed, and you just give the enemy team, like, you give the enemy healers ult charge, because they can just heal that up during the poke stage, and then nothing happened, right? So then, and like, you really want Fire Strike for, like, if you Earth Shatter somebody, or you're in a position to use it to finish somebody, so you really don't want to use it just, like, whenever, when you have Earth Shatter built up. Once you have Earth Shatter built up, you want to have a reason to use it. So we just heard Genji start using Dragon Blade, and he's nano boosted, but he was purple sleepy, so he only killed one person. Didn't amount to very much. So, now it looks like we'd want to use Earth Shatter, but then, this happens now. And they've lost their main healer, so once again, guess we don't need to use Earth Shatter. Even though we just got caught in that Graviton right there, that was a bad Graviton from the enemy Zarya, which is great news, because there's only a minute left on their timer right now, so they aren't going to get to use another Graviton. And now, you know, we've been on this Earth Shatter for a long time, but again, we just haven't needed to use it, so what can you do, right? So now there's only one fight left in them at this point, so we just have Earth Shatter as insurance at this point. And we've just heard Orisa put the bongo down, so clearly they want to start pushing in right now. And I get the impression off this Earth Shatter, we were aware we've had this Earth Shatter for a really long time, so we just threw it out there as soon as we had an opportunity, basically. Because we only hit Zarya with it, which, you know, we misalign it, so whatever. But, like, even if that hit the Orisa, I wouldn't be super stoked about it because of how far Orisa is from us. So, if, like, their healers just focus the Orisa all the way back there, the Orisa probably doesn't die, so I'm not crazy about that Earth Shatter. I would have rather saved it for a better opportunity. I get the impression we were just like, I've had this for so long, I've got to get it out there, Because I know that happens to me as well. The longer I've had one, longer I've had an Earth Shatter, the worse that Earth Shatter inevitably ends up being, because I've had longer to think about it and have more time to psych myself out, basically. I deal a lot better under pressure than when things are completely fine, to be perfectly honest with you, which might sound weird, but like, when I'm under pressure, I've got no problem just going on instinct, but like, when I have, like, a long time to think about something, I'm kind of an anxious person, naturally, so I just start building it up in my mind and, like, really psych myself out. So, like, that happens to me when I have an Earth Shatter for a really long time. It ends up being terrible because I've psyched myself out for, like, 2 minutes about it. Whereas if in the middle of a melee, I'm just like, I'll find the opportunity to use it, no problem, I'll just do it without thinking too much about it. So they C9'd, easy peasy. They got it most of the way to the end still, so like, you know, it's not exactly unfeasible. It's still feasible for us to lose. Let's just approach that sentence from a different angle. English is a fucked up language, man. I don't envy anyone that had to learn English as a second language, because God is it fucked up. You know, it's my native language, so, you know, it's fucked up, but, like, I'm used to it. If you have to learn English, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that you had to learn our fucked up language, which was basically just our language took a bunch of other languages into a back alley, stabbed them, and stole some nouns and verbs out of their pockets, you know? So it's kind of a fucking mess like that. Anyway, so we're attacking now. We haven't seen it yet, but we're gonna find out they have a dive comp. Basically. We've learned they have Genji, but Genji's fucking dead, so that doesn't amount to anything, but in a few seconds, we learn they have a Sombra. And that's terrible news if you're playing Reinhardt, because there's very little you can do about Sombra as Reinhardt, so this is just bad news for us. There you go. They have a, you might have noticed that I seem to know a lot of what's going to happen this time, which is unusually professional of me. That's because I already recorded this video once, but past me was a dumbass, and due to issues I'd rather not talk about because frankly they're embarrassing, I've had to record it again. So I remember where everything was, and I remember stopping at this exact point like, we have a dive comp on their team, don't we? So now I get to look a lot more professional than I actually am. If only you knew what happened half an hour ago. So, don't worry, it wasn't just I realized at the end I didn't push record to begin with. Though that's happened before. It was worse than that. So, they have a dive comp, right? So, basically now I'm looking at that team comp, and I'm like, I'm going to change to Winston when I die, because we can kill Genji, we can zone Sombra. We'll never kill Sombra as Winston unless Sombra fucks up, but we'll also never do that as Reinhardt either. And then, like, Reinhardt's really slow, so, like, he tends to struggle with, like, really fast team comps. Usually just having the faster response time of Winston is better versus that kind of team comp. And then, you know, we can fight Genji, we can fight Sombra, we can jump on Zenyatta if we see him alone. All good stuff, all good stuff. But, you know, I've already told you, we stay on Reinhardt this entire game, so... So, Winston's behind us right now trying to tase people. Sombra's over there. We go after the Sombra. There's no way we ever kill Sombra unless she fucks up. So it's just kind of not worth bothering as Reinhardt. Like, I know we don't want her there. Like, you want the Sombra gone, but it's just like, realistically, you'll never get anything done. So you're better off sticking with your team, like, at the payload or at the front line. And, like, Reinhardt's not meant to deal with the flankers anyway. Like, that's the off-tank's job, not Reinhardt's. But you know how people can be. You have to deal with it as Reinhardt more than you'd want to. So, D.Va's behind our team right now, up to no good. We can see a lot of people on their team in front of us still. We've almost got Earthshatter built up, and Anna died. So, we do need to keep more careful attention of our backline, because... Versus this kind of team comp, we prolong our death right here, don't do this, just die faster. Versus this kind of team as Reinhardt, we don't need to block a lot, so we want to be paying attention for, like, when divers are on our team, because we can just turn around on the Winston and the D.Va and start, like, beating them off of the person they've dived onto. So, we should be paying more attention to what's happening to our backline, because we've seen, like, Winston and D.Va have jumped on our backline a few times now, and we haven't responded to that at all. We're not very good at going after flankers as Reinhardt, but if, like, a Winston or a D.Va dives in on our backline, we can go and smack that person with our hammer, right? Like, that's not so much of an issue. We'll probably not kill them still, but, like, we'll get them off of the backline, and that's the important thing. It would be tempting to Earthshatter right there, but using it around corners is still scary. I'll never get that one out of me, because I was taught for 2 years, don't Earthshatter near corners, because Earthshatter's fucked up. So, now, we only Earthshatter... I think we actually hit Moira as well, but we were mostly aiming for Sombra. And I actually have context for this in the email. That we solo ult this... we didn't quite solo ult her, but we solo ult this Sombra because we got told that she has Emp. So we don't want that to happen. And the question in the email is, was this the correct call? And it'll depend a lot on the team fight that you're in at the time, but, like, this fight feels like it could have still gone either way at that point in time. And Emp is a scary ultimate. Versus a dive comp as Reinhardt, like, it's hard to get an Earthshatter on more than 1 or 2 people because they tend to be very split up over different areas. So it's hard to get, like, a decent Earthshatter. Usually the best you can do is, like, the 2 supports, or, like, the 2 tanks will dive on 1 person and you can Earthshatter both of them. That's usually the best you can do versus a dive comp as Reinhardt. So you do have more freedom versus this kind of comp to Earthshatter 1 person just to remove a big threat from the fight. Which Emp would definitely, like, categorize as, right? It's a scary ultimate. I would be hesitant to solo ult a Sombra, because Emp is scary, yes, but not by itself, right? Like, she needs her team around to capitalize on it. So, I would be hesitant to solo ult a Sombra, because... I'd rather ult Genji, because Dragon Blade is unconditionally scary, right? Like, Dragon Blade is scary. Emp is scary, asterisk, if my team's in position. So, that's me. But, just ulting a Sombra to get rid of the Emp in, like, a fight that could go either way, like, versus this kind of comp where you reasonably only expect to get 1 or 2 people anyway, is fine. You just kind of have to, like, weigh it up at the moment, like, is this gonna be, like, is she gonna get a good ult off or not? And, you know, you have to make that call in the moment, but yes, it was fine to Emp in this situation. I would hesitate because Genji's on the map, but it's fine. So, this fight starts going pretty well, but here comes Transcendence, and now we've been Emp'd, a little bit delayed. And here comes Genji. So they actually all managed to use their ultimates, and Genji killed both our supports. So even though that fight was going really well for us, now it's actually going to go very badly for us, because we've lost both our supports and they're starting to regroup now. So, but we have 5 ultimates. No, almost. We've basically got our ultimate. We've got 5 ultimates right now. So we're actually almost have 6, because Farah's really close as well. So they used a lot of ultimates to do that. They used 3 ultimates to stop that. We got 6 ultimates, so we've definitely got ult advantage right now. So that's fine. Not the end of the world that happened to us. So here's Sombra behind us again. Again, we're never going to kill her. Like, bashing her the one time is fine. I wouldn't jump over the cliff after her. So the fact that I see this Roadhog right now has suddenly made it a lot easier to Earthshatter the enemy team, because Winston changed to Roadhog. So that means their team just became a lot more sedentary than it was previously. So now it's easier to land an Earthshatter, which is important because we do this. So Zenyatta didn't use Transcendence that long ago. He might be decently close, depending on how good he's been clicking on the Badman. But I wouldn't solo ult the Zenyatta in that situation, especially since I've just seen Roadhog, so I know their team is more sedentary and is therefore easier to Earthshatter multiple people now. I wouldn't solo ult the Zenyatta, especially since we just saw him use Transcendence. If, like, 30 or so more seconds had passed, I would have been more with it just to make sure he can't use it, but, like, he would have to have clicked real good on those bad men to have built that Transcendence back up again that fast. So, there's Sombra, up to no good behind us. We'll never kill her again. Don't use the Fire Strike. It wasn't gonna get her. Like, come on. It's not gonna work. Self-destruct. Scary. We're playing Reinhardt. It's fine. Sombra back here up to no good. Sombra is trying to kill somebody right now, so we came back to actually swing on her, because she was, like, actively trying to kill our Moira, so that's fine. Thought Roadhog hooked somebody, but no, he either missed or immediately detached again. So, fight's kind of a fucking mess right now. We just lost Zenyatta, Dragon Blade's coming, we lost this fight, they're using ultimates, couple people dead, it's all over, blah 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 blah. But we've got a bunch of ultimates ready to go on our team. Sombra, your mother dropped you. That's an unusual one. I've heard that one before, but that's kind of an unusual one. The most unusual insult I've ever had leveled against me, personally, like, is... it was in Overwatch, of course, but in one game, someone out of nowhere just went, "You queer-baiting motherfucker" at me. And I was like, never heard that one before. Never had somebody go, "You queer-baiting motherfucker" at me. Never seen it since, either. So that's definitely the most unique insult I've ever had thrown at me online. But here's one of my favorite online interaction with a person ever. I've told this story before, but it's so good it's worth telling again. So I was in League of Legends, and I remember this so vividly. There was a conversation leading up to this, and it's not really important what the conversation was about, but it ended with somebody going, "Same." And the person on RT, I remember so clearly, it was our support player, and they were playing Zyra. And they wrote out a fucking essay, like a whole fucking dissertation, on how they hate people that go "same" as a joke, because it's just, oh, it's trash humor, absolutely stupid, oh, it's not even really a joke, blah, 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 on and on and on and on. So I wait for them to finish, and I just go, "Same." And then within 2 seconds, it goes, "A summoner has disconnected." It was incredible. This was right at the start of the game as well, because there's like a setup period in League of Legends. It's like 1.5 minutes long. So usually just people fuck around, right? So that's when this whole thing happens. So within the first 2 minutes of the game, this happens. I fucking hate people that go "same," vitriol, salt. Same. Disconnects. He set himself up for it so perfectly. I like to imagine that, like, he didn't just Alt F4. He was so angry, he just reached over and ripped the power cord out of his computer. Like, motherfucker! He set himself up for it so perfectly. It was incredible. Oh, I'll never forget it. That's gonna always be my favorite online interaction. Oh, God, did I laugh. Oh, good times, good times, good times. League of Legends is a good game. It's actually terrible, but it's funny sometimes, and that's, you know, that's worth something. So, anyway, we've almost got Earthshatter built up again. We've got 4 other ultimates on our team, so we basically have 5 ultimates right now. And the enemy team, like, they're easier to Earthshatter at this point, especially on this part of the map where they're usually funneled together, but Genji just got nano boosted, and we just got emped, so he can't really do a whole lot with that one. We want to get healed right now, but the healer's doing other things. Now we're healthy enough, but oh god, stuff happened. Most of our team's dead. Oh no. So, this goes a lot better than expected. I wouldn't recommend doing that one, because at this point, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the timer, like, we have enough time to die and regroup. So I would either try and get out or die faster so that I can do this with my team, rather than doing it 3v6. As we can see, it works out. We killed 3 people, so it all works out just fine. But that went a lot better than expected. I would have just died faster or regrouped or like tried to leave faster, because we had enough time to regroup with our team and do that with more members of our team present. Assuming our team don't just like run in one by one all the time and die. So don't do this. We do push Fire Strike like as this happens, a little bit after, but like we'll say basically at the same time. But we did have enough time to whip our camera so that we don't hit the Sombra with the Fire Strike, and then we could pin the Sombra and kill her. Fire Strike's animation is pretty long. It doesn't seem like it's that long, but you learn that, like, if you play Reinhardt for a while, you learn just how long Fire Strike's animation is. So, things are going, like, super great right now. Both Dragon Blades happen, but, like, oh no, our healers are dead. Standard Reinhardt procedure. Start spinning around, like, I'll block it all. I'm gonna block it all. They're gonna think I'm a fucking Dragon Ball Z character. That's how good my blocking's gonna be right here. Fucking, you watch whoever, just like, ting, 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 ting. That's what we're gonna do. But no, it didn't work out, unfortunately. So, it was Genji who got play of the game, I remember. We don't even see. Oh, we kind of see. Yeah, he cut the bad men. He cut the bad men. That's what happened. So, in the email also, it says, I felt like I spent too much time running after flankers in this game. Kind of paraphrasing, but that's what it says, basically. And the thing that stands out to me the most is we went after Sombra a few times, which is just, like, never gonna happen. So, you don't want to do that, unless the Sombra is actively trying to kill someone, like with the Moira. The one time we went after her, she was like actively trying to kill Moira, so that's fine. But other times, it's never gonna happen unless the Moira is like really bad. And like, as we know, any play that revolves around the enemy team being bad is itself a bad play, so we don't want to do that. Yeah, but I don't really have anything overarching to say about the game, because, we're in Diamond, which is pretty much how you'd expect it to be at this point. More just like refinement rather than like hammering out any kind of big issue, so I ain't got anything overarching to say about the game. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us, and I hope you found the video helpful.